Hey guys, just got done playing some poker, and not my best day. Well, I can go one step further and say I played like crap. So made some good plays, avoided some tough spots, but well, you'll see. It's bad play. Anyway, sit back, relax, enjoy. Here it comes. I'm in the game for $500, up about $40 at this time. We're about 20 minutes into the session. Look down to Ace King offsuit, open for $25. There was an $8 straddle put on this hand. I get one caller from the player behind me and another one from the straddler. So we're going to end up going three ways to this flop with $79 in the pot. Well, the dealer puts out a good flop. It comes King 9-4. There are two spades out there, but top is a pretty good hand to have. My opponent fires at me for $100 right off the get-go, and I'm trying to figure out what to do here. He could have a very value-ish hand. He's probably saying he can beat Ace-King, maybe pocket nines, pocket fours, King 9 suited, maybe even King 4 suited. Or he could have some sort of big flush draw, combo draw, maybe Queen Jack, Queen 10 of spades, Jack 10 of spades. But just from his sizing, I think he's more inclined to be afraid of a flush draw and more inclined to have a value hand. So after thinking about it for a while, I decided just to let this one go. I think he probably flopped a really big hand. I did ask him to show if he wanted to, and he did show pocket fours for a flop set. I got a late start filming this one. The player opens for 15. I call from the low jack with King Queen suited. Get a call from the button, the small blind, and the big blind. So we're going three ways to a flop, which comes out Queen 9-3 with two clubs. When it's checked to me, I decided to bet for $40, which is a little over half pot, but I really should be sizing up. It's a pretty wet board. Two clubs out there and a straight draw. I figure a $60 bet should have been the minimum. I get a call from the player on the button and the player in the small blind. The other players end up folding out, so it's just going to be the three of us to see the turn. At this point, I'm thinking my queen is good, and I'm most likely up against two people that are drawing, maybe with a straight or a flush draw. Turn card comes as 8 of hearts, so the obvious straight draw of Jack 10 comes in. Not happy. First person checks. I decided to check this one, and the player on the button now fires out. Now for $60, I don't think I can get away from this unless the player who checked is going to put in a check raise. And I was a little bit concerned with that. After a while, he decides to put in the call, which makes it pretty easy for me to follow through and call as well. Not quite sure what I'm hoping for. I might be dead already, but the 3 of hearts is probably the best card I can ask for. It counterfeits hands like 9-8. First person ends up checking. Of course, I ended up checking, and the final player puts in the check behind. It makes me very happy. First person had ace-5 of clubs, so he missed his flush draw. I turned over my king-queen, and the other player flashed that he had 10-8 of clubs for a pair, straight draw, and flush draw. The player opens for 15. He gets one player who calls for 15, and with two jacks, I'm going to raise. I make it 65. Hoping just to get it heads up or maybe down to these two players. But the player on the button puts in the cold call for the 65. He has a fairly short stack, about $170. I figured if he had something better than my hand, he would just go with it. And even if he had 2 overcards, he would probably just go with it. So it's really hard to say what he has. He could be a pocket pair smaller than mine. Maybe some sort of ace, something suited. Anyway, we get one other caller coming along, and so we're going three ways to this flop, and it comes out king high, which is not ideal, but it is rainbow, so there's not a lot of draws. It's pretty dry. First player checks. I think he would lead with any king. I decided just to go ahead and bet this for $65. Don't want to give away any overcards getting there. Of course, the guy in the button puts in the quick call, and he has about $30 or $40 left behind. So if he had a king, wouldn't he just go with it and stick it in? Oh, anyway, heads up, we see a turn card of an 8 of diamonds. At this point, I'm pretty sure he has a king, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to be folding for $30, so I put it in there. He definitely shows a king. We're going to lose this one, and he's going to double up and switch tables before I have a chance to get it back. After this, I went card dead for quite some time, added $500 to my stack, but just been bleeding chips. And finally, I looked down at Ace 10 offsuit from the big blind. The game has been playing a lot looser and faster since my cold spell. There was a open for 20, and 3 players called to 20. And this is like a perfect setup for doing a squeeze play. For more information about learning about squeeze plays, check out my latest short. I put in there some strategies and things I look for before I execute such a play. So when it comes around to me, I make it $150. There's $84 of dead money sitting out there. And I think a big raise here is take this down a very high percentage of the time. And if I get called, I got something to fall back on. Anyway, once it gets by the initial raiser, I'm feeling pretty safe. And everyone else ends up folding out. So I make $80, and just because the setup was right and the timing was right. There was a slew of limpers in front of me. I decided just to make this a big raise to $25, hoping to clear out the field. Well, I was unsuccessful in doing that. I ended up getting 4 people calling me. So we're going to go 4 ways to this flop with $107 in the pot. Flop comes out, ace high. There are 2 clubs and lots of potential draws. So I'm going to bet 60% pot at this point. I could probably go to even 75 or 80% pot with this wet a board. Anyway, I put out the bet, and everyone seems to dislike their hand. So that makes me happy, and I'll take down this pot. Player opens for 13, another player calls. I look down to ace 5 of clubs. Occasionally I'll put this in my 3-bet range, and this is one of those times. So I make it $60. It gets folded back around to the initial opener who puts in the call, and so does the player next to him. So we're going to go 3 ways to this flop with $184 in the center. Looking for one of those magical flops, but instead it comes out king 6-6, which is actually a pretty good board for a 3-better. Both players checked me. They don't have a 6 or a king. I don't think they can continue. So I'm going to put out a c-bet here for $70. My backup plan if they call, well, is to catch running clubs or to catch running aces. Either one would be nice. But I don't think it'll come to that because they end up folding, and we take this one down with a little aggression and ace high. The very next hand, I pick up ace queen suited in the low jack. Get a chance to raise this up after there's a $7 straddle to 25. End up getting 4 callers for the 25. So, yeah, the action's there. Game is good. Just got to make a freaking hand here. So, we're going to go 5 ways to this flop with 129 in the center. Flop comes out. Yeah, we missed it. 9, 5, 4. There is 1 club out there. It gets checked over to me. I check it. Player behind me checks it. And the final player puts out a bet for $45. Yeah, I'm basically done with this hand. But now one of the players puts in the call. And another player puts in the call. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm getting a pretty good odds on this. Maybe my overcards are good. And a backdoor flush draw. For $45, I'm going to have to take one off and see what happens. Turn card comes is a 5 of clubs. Okay, we picked up a flush draw, and I think my overcards are probably still good. The guy's betting with a 9 there. Checked it over to the player in last position, and he bets $100 this time. The other players fold out, and I'm thinking, I'm getting just too good of a price here. I just need 20% equity to make this call, and I think I'm probably close to 35% equity. Of course, there's always that chance that I'm drawing dead too. He might have a full house like 5-4. But for $100, I'm going to go ahead and take one off and see if I can make this one a winning hand. Looking for ace, a queen, or maybe even a king to bluff with, and I get a 3 of spades. So I thought about firing big, but my hand doesn't make sense, and I think he would call me down. And he does have Jack-9 offsuit for a top pair. All right, the player who just won that last hand announces that he has one more round to go and he has to leave. He has an appointment to keep. And he mentioned that, I hope I don't lose a big pot. Whenever I do this, I always lose a big pot right before I go. So I don't know about you, but when people put that out into the world, they have a tendency to come true. So with that in mind, I look down at pocket eights. There was a player that opened in front of me. I put in the call. The player behind me puts in the call for the $20. And now the player on the button puts in a raise to $60. Not a very big raise. Cost me $40 more to set mine. I'm not going anywhere, especially when he made that comment that he thinks he might lose a big pot. So we end up going 3 ways to this flop with $210 in the center. Flop comes out King 6 deuce. Not a very good flop for pocket eights. First player checks, I check, and now the player bets out $100. I'm not totally convinced he has a king here. So I decided to put in a loose call. Maybe he has something like pocket jacks, queens, tens. I decided to call and then fire on all blanks that come up on the turn, trying to get him to fold out those medium-sized pocket pairs. So when the 4 spade comes out, I go, okay, I'm just going to put out a $100 bet, maybe give him the fold, stuff like queens, jacks, tens. Instead, he puts in a min raise. So now I think he has a king and that I'm just screwed. But the min raise was kind of small. So I said, all right, I'm going to gamble with this guy. Maybe I can get lucky. Maybe represent a flush on the river. I don't have to represent anything. It comes 8 of spades. So I just jammed my remaining stack of about $220. And he thinks I'm probably backdoored a flush on him with the king of spades and another spade in my hand. I haven't beat this player all day long, and he's been running really, really good. And he's a very sticky player, so I don't think he's going anywhere. He announces call. I show him the bad beat of pocket eights. He had ace king. Horrible play on my part, but every once in a while I get lucky too. This is a bonus hand that happened the day before. I have 6-7 suited. It's been a long time since I played a hand. This is like the second hand I played in an hour and a half. And there was a couple limpers. I decided to raise with 6-7 of spades. End up getting 2 callers, one from the player under the gun and the other one from the player directly to my right. Both these players have a pretty decent sized stack. I'm up $130 at this point, and I get to see a beautiful flop of King 8-5 all spades. So I flop a flush with a straight flush draw, just in case I need something more. It gets checked over to me. I bet out for $30. Player under the gun thinks for a little bit and puts in the call for the $30. The player to my right decides to put in a min raise to $60. Well, what could he have? Does he have a bigger flush than me? Maybe he's just making a semi-move, trying to represent a flush? I decided just to put in the call for 30 more, and so does the player in the under the gun position. Turn card comes is a queen of hearts. Looks like a pretty safe card. Player under the gun checks. Player to my right now decides to bet $75. Well, what to do? Either go with the damn hand and stick in a raise and get your chips in there, and you could be up against it. Or you make a weak call and invite the player behind you who might be on a draw with his higher spade. I decided just to put in the call. I don't like my play. And I don't like it even more when the player behind me sticks in $325 in chips. Yeah, this is not looking good. The player to my right ends up tanking for a while and then finally ends up folding. Not quite sure what he had, but in my mind at that time I was thinking maybe he was betting something like ace king with a ace of spades. I don't know. Anyway, it cost me $250. Is there a chance he's bluffing? Yeah, I don't like my call. I think it's a punt, but I do have 2 live cards, I think, in my mind that will be very nice to see, either a 4 or 5 of spades. Plus, there's a high hand promotion going on. Yeah, this is bad. I should just fold here. I know better, and I stuck it in anyway. And the river card comes as a 9 of diamonds, and he shows ace deuce of spades. I got exactly what I deserved on this one. What a donkey. Well, I'm pretty frustrated. I add 500 just in case I pick up a hand. Go card dead for a long time again. Finally, I pick up a pair of aces and open for a raise after there is 1 limper. And I made it 15. Probably should have made it at least 25 because everyone's calling. Get 4 callers headed to this flop. I hate my hand already. Haven't even seen the flop. Just I haven't really made anything, and I'm going once, just once. Give me a flop. I get 9, 6, 5 with 2 clubs. I do have the ace of clubs, so that's good, but I'm not betting this thing. I can check it. I must be beat. I just know it. Player ends up betting out for $80 to my left. Yeah, this is either a big combo draw or a big hand. I'm by far the dog with my pocket aces. I was planning on just folding when it got to me because there's no way I'm going to be good. But the player on the button decides to jam all in for $260. He either has a straight or a set and is afraid of a flush. So, yeah, easy fold. Player to my left snap calls. Pocket nines were shown. The player to my left ends up showing that he had 5, 7 of clubs for a big combo draw. Both of them would have had me beat, and I took this as a sign it's time to go home because I think I won 3 pots all day long. So obviously I didn't play my best poker. I made some really stupid mistakes. Even the hand with the pocket eights where I get super lucky and draw out on the ace king. Yeah, that's just awful. Shouldn't have been there. Only reason I called was because he put that out there in the universe that he was going to lose a big pot before he left, and I wanted to be the recipient of that. That call with 6, 7 suited after he jams all in. Yeah, I know I got a straight flush draw. I just got to fold that. It's no real excuse for that. That was a bad call. Wasted $250. So luckily I got rewarded for playing bad on that first day, and I got punished on this second day. Obviously, you can't win every single day, and you're going to have ups and downs when you play poker. Only thing you can do is just play your best, and lately I haven't been doing that. The last, I say, week or so, I've made too many mistakes, and I haven't been punished fully for the mistakes I made, and I think that it's going to catch up with me sooner than later. So I got to get back on playing solid poker here, and hopefully you guys can come along for the ride and see the results. Until next time, thanks for watching, and good luck at the tables. Zeus has spotted his Christmas gift. It's in that big brown box from Amazon. He's waiting very patiently. It's going to be a while, though. We got like 8 more days till Christmas.